welcome to my channel Maths with Mahanti sir. Children, in the last class we were discussing about area of rectangular path. How to find area of rectangular paths, it was discussed in the last class. Today let us discuss the next part of this chapter, that is your perimeter and area. Let us find out area of parallelogram and rhombus. Okay, children, you know what is square, what is rectangle, but till class 6 you have never read about parallelogram and rhombus. You are going to read parallelogram and rhombus for the first time. Okay, if you do not know what is parallelogram and what is rhombus, then how will you find its area? Okay, so today let us discuss the concept of parallelogram and rhombus. Okay, children, you know your rectangle and square, how many sides they have? They have 4 sides, 4 angles. Okay, so such a figure having 4 sides, that means any 4-sided closed figure, we call it a quadrilateral. Okay, quadri means 4 and lateral means sides. So as in rectangle and square, there are 4 sides and all the sides are closed. 4 sides means only line segment. 4 line segments or sides and they are closed. So we call rectangle as a quadrilateral. Square is also a quadrilateral. So like the rectangle and square, there are other quadrilaterals also. About quadrilateral more will be discussed in class 8. Just at present let us have some idea. So today let us discuss 2 important quadrilaterals, that is parallelogram and rhombus, like your square and rectangle. Okay, so like as I just told you, in square and rectangle there are 4 sides. So similarly in a parallelogram and in a rhombus too, there are 4 sides. That means they are closed figures having 4 sides, closed 4-sided figure. But that is not the sufficient to say that a quadrilateral, that means under what condition a quadrilateral will be a parallelogram, under what condition a quadrilateral will be a rhombus, we have to understand. What is the definition of parallelogram, what is the definition of rhombus? You know what is rectangle and your square in junior classes. You can simply say a rectangle is a quadrilateral or a 4-sided figure in which both pairs of opposite sides, I mean the 2 lengths and the 2 breadths are equal and each angle 90 degree, we call it a rectangle. This is the concept we have in junior classes. Okay, but again the concept of rectangle, it will be changed in when you go to class 8 and 9, etc. Now what is a square? If I ask you, you can easily say, sir, it is a quadrilateral having 4 sides, all sides equal, the length of each side is equal and each angle 90 degree. Okay, this thing you know. Then what is a parallelogram? See, what is a parallelogram? See, it is another quadrilateral. Now look at the figure. See, look at the figure. As I just told you, it is a quadrilateral having 4 sides. Okay, see this figure, it is a quadrilateral having 4 sides, AB, BC, CD and AD. Now look at the side AB and DC. So if I ask you what are these 2 sides, they are opposite sides. That means AB and DC, they form one pair of opposite sides. Similarly, you see AB and DC, these 2 sides are opposite sides. Okay, it is one pair of opposite sides. Similarly, A, B and BC, it is another pair. So how many pairs of opposite sides are there? There are 2 pairs of opposite sides in this quadrilateral. Now the point is, under what condition we will call it a parallelogram? Now this quadrilateral, we will call it a parallelogram if AB and DC, look at this pair. If this pair of opposite side, one pair, if this pair, one pair of opposite sides AB and DC parallel, that means you see, if AB parallel to DC and also you see the other pair, this is the sign symbol for parallel, arrow symbol indicates the sign of parallel. Okay, now what I mean to say, if AD and BC, this pair of opposite sides, they are parallel, and also if AB and DC, this pair of opposite sides parallel, then we call it is a parallelogram. So what is a parallelogram? So definitely a parallelogram is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That means you see, if AB and DC one pair, they are parallel, and AD and BC parallel. Okay, if AB parallel to DC and AD parallel to BC, that means both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Then this quadrilateral ABCD, then the quadrilateral ABCD is called a parallelogram. Okay, is a parallelogram. So this is the definition of parallelogram. So from this we came to know that a parallelogram is a quadrilateral, means it has four sides. Okay. And what is the main condition? The main condition is both pairs of opposite sides, two pairs, both the two pairs of opposite sides must be parallel. Then we will say that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay. Now what is a rhombus? Let us see. Then we will come discuss how to find area of parallelogram and rhombus. See, what is a rhombus then? You see, it is also, as I told you, it is also a quadrilateral. That means it will have four sides. See, look at the figure of a rhombus. Suppose this is a rhombus. A, B, C, D. You see, first this is a quadrilateral because it has four sides. Now the point is, under what condition we will call it is a rhombus. See, in order that it will be a rhombus, in order that this quadrilateral will be a rhombus, so what is the main, there are two main conditions. So what are the two conditions? First, you see, AB and BC, one pair, this pair opposite sides must be parallel, and also AD and BC must be parallel. That means both pairs of opposite sides of this quadrilateral must be parallel. That means it is a parallelogram. Okay, just I told you, if both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, it is called the quadrilateral is called a parallelogram. Now I said this is a quadrilateral. Under what condition it will be a rhombus? It will be a rhombus, the first condition, if it is a parallelogram. It is to be remembered, understood as well as remembered. We have to understand and remember that in order that a quadrilateral will be a rhombus, it must be a parallelogram first. Okay, that means first is, you see, first condition, it is a parallelogram. You see, it is a parallelogram. This is the symbol, short form of parallelogram, parallel and gram, parallelogram. Okay, that means ABCD should be a parallelogram first. Okay, then only it will become rhombus. Okay. That means if this is a parallelogram, it's both pairs of opposite sides parallel. Okay. So in order that a quadrilateral will be a rhombus, first condition is what? It must be a rhombus, or it should be a rhombus. It should be a parallelogram. It should be, in order that a quadrilateral will be a rhombus, first condition is it should be a parallelogram. Then what is the next condition? The second condition or the other condition is, you see, these two. You see, AB and AD, look at AB and AD, they are two sides. So what sides? Like we say, see, we say AB and DC, what sides? They are opposite sides. Similarly, AB and AD, what sides are they? Are they opposite sides? No. Then what sides are they? They are called adjacent sides. Adjacent sides, you see. Now you will ask me, what are adjacent sides? Yes. So why AB and AD are adjacent sides but AB and DC are opposite sides? You see. So AB and AD are adjacent sides because, look at, these two sides have a common vertex A. A is the common vertex of the two sides AB and AD. That is why AB and AD are called adjacent sides. Okay. So this is one pair of adjacent sides. Similarly, look at BA and BC. It can be another pair of adjacent sides. CB and CD, it can be another pair of adjacent sides. DC and DA, it is another pair of adjacent. That means there are four pairs of adjacent sides. So in order that this quadrilateral will become a rhombus, the first condition, it should be a parallelogram. This quadrilateral should be a parallelogram. And what is the second condition? One pair, any one pair, there are four pairs of adjacent sides, any one pair of adjacent sides must be equal. That means, you see, the second condition is either AB equal to AD or BA equal to BC or CB equal to CD or DC equal to DA. Any one pair of adjacent sides must be equal. Second condition. First condition, this quadrilateral should be a parallelogram. Then only we will say that this quadrilateral is a what? Rhombus. Okay. So rhombus is a parallelogram and one pair of adjacent sides. One pair of adjacent sides equal. Okay. So out of the 4 pairs of adjacent sides, if any one pair of adjacent sides of this quadrilateral is equal, okay, and if the quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then closing our eyes we will say that this quadrilateral will be a rhombus. Okay children, I hope you understood what is the difference between parallelogram and rhombus. Parallelogram is what? It is a quadrilateral in which both pairs of opposite sides AB and BC parallel, AD and BC parallel, then it is a parallelogram. That is the sufficient condition. That is the sufficient condition for a quadrilateral to become a parallelogram. Now what is a rhombus? Rhombus is also a quadrilateral. It is having 4 sides, it is closed by 4 sides. But under what condition we will say that a quadrilateral is a rhombus? There are 2 conditions. First condition, it must be a parallelogram. Second condition, any one pair of adjacent sides must be equal. Now children, what happens when one pair of adjacent sides of this rhombus equal? Then automatically all the 4 sides will be equal. Why? Because in a parallelogram, it will be taught in class 8. In a parallelogram, see, I said in a parallelogram, AB and DC are parallel, opposite sides parallel, and AD and BC, they also are parallel because they are one pair of opposite sides. And there is another relation. There is another relation between the pair of opposite sides of a parallelogram. What is that? Not only both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. In a parallelogram, you see, in parallelogram, AB and DC, not only they are parallel, they will also be equal. Its proof will be done in class 9. Okay. In parallelogram, both pairs of opposite sides are not only parallel, they are also equal. That means, if ABCD is a parallelogram, then AB will be equal to DC and AD will also be equal to BC. See. So thus from this discussion we came to know that in a parallelogram, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel as well as equal. But the sufficient condition, I mean the main condition for any quadrilateral to become a parallelogram is its both pairs of opposite sides should be parallel. Okay. Now if we apply this property here, if we apply this property that both pairs of opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal, then and here one pair of adjacent sides equal, then automatically all the 4 sides of rhombus will be equal. That means at present you remember that in a rhombus is a parallelogram. It's any one pair of adjacent sides equal. These are the 2 conditions for any quadrilateral to become what? To become a rhombus. And another additional property of rhombus is what? We have to remember that its all sides are equal. Okay, all 4 sides of a rhombus are equal. Just I am writing. These are the definitions. You see, these are the conditions. These 2 are the conditions for a quadrilateral to become a what? Rhombus. But one of the important properties of rhombus you have to remember. What is that? All the 4 sides, like square. We know in a square all the 4 sides are equal. And also in rhombus also all the 4 sides will be equal. So all the 4 sides of a rhombus are equal. Okay. Children, I hope you understood what is parallelogram, what is rhombus and what is the difference between the 2. Okay. Now, if it is a rhombus, if we join any 2 non-consecutive, you see, suppose this is a quadrilateral, this is a parallelogram, one pair of adjacent sides equal, then it became a rhombus. Now, you join any 2 non-consecutive vertices, A and C, they are not consecutive vertices. If you join any A and B are consecutive vertices of this quadrilateral or rhombus, but A and C they are non-consecutive vertices. Okay. Now, if you join any 2 non-consecutive vertices of the rhombus, okay, that line segment AC is called a diagonal. What is diagonal? Try to understand. Diagonal of a rhombus. Similarly, in case of parallelogram, if we join D and B, it will be one diagonal because B and D are 2 non-consecutive vertices of this parallelogram or quadrilateral. Similarly, A and C if we join, it will give you another diagonal. So diagonal is what? Diagonal is the line segment which is obtained by joining any 2 non-consecutive vertices of a quadrilateral. Okay. So AC will be one diagonal, BC is another diagonal. Okay. So there are 2 diagonals in a rhombus. Similarly, in a parallelogram also you will have how many diagonals? 2 diagonal. AC will be one diagonal and BD will be one diagonal. Okay. Now, the point is, and I said that in a rhombus all the 4 sides are equal. See, all the 4 sides of rhombus are equal. So if all the 4 sides of rhombus are equal, then you can easily tell me what will be the perimeter of rhombus. If all the 4 sides of rhombus equal, then its perimeter you see, Suppose each side is A, you see, each side is A. Suppose A unit. If the length of each side of rhombus is A unit, what will be its perimeter? So perimeter will be, perimeter of rhombus, it will be what? A plus A plus A plus A 4 times, that means A into 4 or 4A, 4 into side. In this case, you see, opposite sides are equal as I told you, you see. AB and DC parallel and AB and DC also equal. AD and BC parallel and AD and BC equal also in parallelogram. As I said, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and equal in a parallelogram. So if these two are equal, AB and DC, and if AD and BC equal, you can easily find the what? Perimeter of the what? Perimeter of this parallelogram. 2 into L plus B or 2 into AB plus AD. 2 into AB plus AD, it will be perimeter of what? Your parallelogram. But 4 into side will be perimeter of rhombus. Okay. Now the point is, suppose you are given in a rhombus, suppose you are given the length of diagonal D1 and the length of diagonal D2. That means, suppose AC, the diagonal AC is given, its length is D1 and the diagonal BD is given, say D2. How to find its area? Okay. Now another thing you see, children, if these are the two diagonals of a rhombus, look at the two diagonals, they intersect at a point. Okay. Okay. In higher class you will find, in class 8 you will find that in rhombus the two diagonals bisect each other. So what is the meaning of bisect? Bisect means, you see, AC is one diagonal and AD is, BD is another diagonal. See, if AC and BD are the two diagonals of a rhombus, then you see diagonals of a rhombus, these are properties. Like I told you, in a rhombus all the four sides are equal. It is one of the properties. Okay. So the perimeter of rhombus is 4 into side. Okay. Then what about the relation? I mean, what is the relation between the two diagonals of a rhombus? I told you what is diagonal now. Okay. Now diagonals of a rhombus, you see, diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. So what is the meaning? What is the meaning of this? Diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. What is the meaning? That means if AC and BD are the two diagonals of rhombus ABCD, then the length of OA will be equal to the length of OC. That means, suppose AC is 10 centimeter AC, then OA will be 5 centimeter and OB will be 5 centimeter, OC will be 5 centimeter. That means, you see, what is the meaning of this? The meaning that the diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. The meaning is OA and OC will be equal and they will be equal to half of AC. OA and OC will be equal and they will be equal to half of the diagonal AC. Similarly, OB and OD, the length, OB will be equal to OD and each one will be equal to half of BD. You see, if these are the cases, that means if OA equal to OC and each one is equal to half of AC and OB equal to OD and each one is equal to half of BD, then we say half the length of BD, then we say that the two diagonals of rhombus ABCD, that is the two diagonals AC and BD, they bisect each other. Okay. So we came to know another important property, that is diagonals of a rhombus, they bisect each other. Okay. You have to remember it. What else we came to know? The perimeter, all the four sides of a rhombus equal, and you please remember, in a rhombus no angle is 90 degree. No angle is 90 degree in a rhombus. You see, in a rhombus all the four sides are equal. In a square also all the four sides are equal. But in rhombus no angle is 90 degree. But in square each angle is 90 degree. Okay. Now another thing. Look at this angle. This angle will be how many degree in rhombus? In rhombus, where the two diagonals bisect, at the point of bisection, each angle will be 90 degree. That means the proof of all this will be taught in higher classes. Okay. That means in rhombus, the two diagonals bisect each other at right angle or 90 degree. So this angle will be 90 degree, angle AOB, angle BOC 90 degree, angle COD 90 degree, angle AOD 90 degree. At the point of bisection O, each angle will be 90 degree. That means there are four right triangles in this rhombus. Okay. So this is all about rhombus and parallelogram, children. So I hope you understood what I discussed about parallelogram, its properties, rhombus and its properties. Okay, so we shall discuss how to find the area of these two figures, namely your parallelogram and rhombus, in the next class. Okay, I hope whatever I discussed till late you must have understood. Thank you, children. If at all it is true that you understood what I discussed, then I must say you please hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Okay, so we shall again meet in the next class with the discussion of area of parallelogram and rhombus. Okay, thank you.